Hello, welcome to my kitchen. Today we're gonna do a reacts video, and this is a really fun one, so you're gonna watch it here, and I'm gonna watch it here. Hi, I'm Dr. Taylor. I talk about healthy relationships with food for kids, picky eating, how to talk to your kids about food, evidence-based nutrition, and today we're talking about sprinkles on mac and cheese. And if you think that's weird, it's actually not, and you should stick around to find out why. Love sprinkles on mac and cheese, and here's why. When we use novelty items like sprinkles, it can make a food feel more accessible and your kid feel like just generally more comfortable with trying that food. So especially in this situation, you can see that the family is eating out at a restaurant. So even if the kid loves mac and cheese, they're served this bowl of mac and cheese. It might look different, it might smell different, it's in a different bowl. It can still be a little bit like new and scary and even anxiety producing in some kids. So when you take an item like sprinkles that they're familiar with or sprinkles that they think are really fun and you put it on top of the mac and cheese, it can make the kid feel more comfortable trying this food that might be new to them. This is a totally underrated and, in my opinion, underused tool to help picky eaters explore different kinds of foods. And well, one of the reasons why I love this is because it's low pressure. You're not telling the kid, like, just try one bite. You can't know if you don't like it unless you try a bite, or you're 3 years old, so you have to have 3 bites. We're not using any of that high pressure tactics. We're saying, oh my gosh, these sprinkles are so fun. Do you want to have some on your mac and cheese? Yeah, sure I do. And then they take a bite. That's way less pressure, which is a good thing because we want to use these low pressure feeding tactics to help our kids explore new foods, because we know that high pressure eating can lead to kids not trying that food and not liking that food. So I'm going to show you a couple of the novelty items that I use in my house and I recommend people use all the time. I'll have a link below, or I'll have all the links below for the ones that you can buy on Amazon. Novelty items don't have to be crazy expensive. They don't even have to be something that you buy separately to use with your picky eater. Like, a lot of these are things that you might already have in your kitchen. So something like a spatula, serve them a spatula to eat their mac and cheese with instead of a fork. This really simple change is silly and funny and can make your kid feel excited to explore a food that maybe they're not super comfortable with, they haven't tried before, or it can just like spice up a food that they're super used to. Other things I love are silly straws. I love using these for soup or the milk in cereal, especially if you have a kiddo that needs help gaining weight. Getting them to drink the bottom of, or the cereal milk, can be a great tool to help get in those extra calories at breakfast. I love these chopsticks from Lalo. They're training chopsticks. They're Paw Patrol. My kids are big Paw Patrol fans, and they have little grips on the end. They're a great intro to chopsticks, and these are also a great novelty item if your kid isn't super familiar with chopsticks at the table. Food picks. I love food picks, and these Dabble Do ones are some of my favorite because they're big and easy for little hands to grab, but you can also use these fun, smaller food picks as long as your kid is like appropriate age. These can be a choking hazard for young kids, so for older kids, if your kid is old enough, a toothpick. I mean, this is one of the most simple novelty items that you can use, but if you serve like after school snack with fruits and vegetables and put out a little cup of toothpicks, this can be great to help your kids try and eat some of those fruits and veggies, and it just is like a fun way to change things up. Other novelty items I love are sandwich cutters. I use these frequently because I serve peanut butter jelly or sun butter and jelly to my kids all the time, and I want to keep them used to like changing things up. So if you have a kid who, like, you have a specific bread that you have to use, or specific sun butter or jelly or peanut butter or whatever, and they're not great at accepting other brands, changing the shape of the food that they eat is one of the most simple ways that you can inject variety, especially for very cautious eaters, because it doesn't change the temperature, smell, or taste of the food. It's just the shape. So this is like a great way to start introducing variety if you have a cautious eater. Oh, I love these shape cutters too. These are for smaller things. I use these a lot for cucumbers, and these are fun to have the kids stamp out the shapes of the cucumber, put them together like a puzzle. But anyways, my kids love using these. And even if they cut out a bunch of stars of their cucumber and don't eat the cucumber, they're still being exposed to that vegetable and they're still having fun with the food, so that's still a win. I think kid-safe knives are one of the best novelty items to use with kids. This is kind of one step up from the Tavola knives that I frequently use, the nylon knives. Let me those so I can show you. Anyways, I love knives as novelty items for kids. Is it weird for me to say give kids knives? No, because we're talking about kid-safe knives here. So I start with a dough cutter for the very early knife users. You can also get like a wooden dough cutter, like a Montessori wooden knife. And I start this anywhere from 12-ish months. Once they're experienced with this, I introduce a nylon knife. They're very safe. They're not gonna, if you like really saw it into your hand, it might cut you. But these are pretty safe for kids who are just like learning how to use knives. Obviously, still supervised. Once we graduate from the nylon knives, this Opinel knife has been great to introduce like a real metal knife. It has a little handle so that they can practice their chopping skills. So if you are introducing like a fruit or a veggie that they haven't seen in a while or that they may be uncomfortable with, and you feel like they're able to use a knife safely like this in a supervised setting, try serving it to them whole and asking them to cut it. I find that's great for exposing kids to new things. These little hand grabbers are so fun. This would be a great thing to serve in the place of utensils as well. So tonight we're having salmon and asparagus for dinner, so I will probably put these out on their plate. It makes the food more approachable when they're a little bit nervous about trying that when it's got something fun like this. But be careful with these for really young kids because the hands do come off and they're pretty small. Sprinkles, of course, I love sprinkles. And if you're like, but sprinkles at food dyes, they have dye-free options. So if that's a concern for you, you can get dye-free ones like these are. And cupcake liners. I mean, these are so fun to just have like a snacky lunch and put things in various cupcake liners. So variety and novelty items don't have to be expensive. You can even have your kids sit on the floor for a floor picnic. That changes things up and makes that food more approachable too. So I love this video. It's not weird to bring sprinkles to a restaurant to put on your mac and cheese. In fact, I think it's a great approach for selective eaters and maybe you should try it. Let me know, is there any fun novelty items you love? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear, create a resource. If you have questions about sprinkles on mac and cheese or using novelty items with your kids, add that to the comments too and we can talk about it.